Welcome to our EdTech internship presentation. The purpose of this presentation is to share our internship process with you and reflect on the professional development sessions that we provided for our fellow staff members at Highland View Elementary School. This presentation is also to help demonstrate the many things related to technology and being a tech leader at our school that we have learned as a result of being in the EdTech program through Loyola University. My name is Stacy Justice, and I just finished teaching my 9th year in kindergarten at Highland View Elementary.
I am Mariam Mutafian, and I also just completed my 9th year teaching in Montgomery County. I have been at Highland View for the past 8 years, having taught both 3rd and 5th grades.
Now let's take a look at the school where we teach, which is Highland View Elementary School. It is made up of 40 professional and 11 supporting services staff members, along with 405 students. Of our student population, 29% receive ESOL support, 5% receive special education services, 44% qualify for free and reduced meals, while there is a 14% mobility rate at the school. We are qualified as a focus school that allows for reduced class sizes that supports the homeschool model.
As graduate students with very specific criteria to meet for our internship, our main goal was to tailor our tech trainings to our staff, making it relevant and authentic for them. We did this by linking it to our School Improvement Plan, or SIP, which had a very specific focus around using formative assessments to drive instruction. It felt like a perfect fit to teach our staff about tech tools that they could use to gather data. We knew we would need to first support our colleagues with understanding the basics of these technologies and then learning how to use them for the purpose of collecting formative assessment data. Now we will describe our process from start to finish. Prior to officially starting our internship in the fall of 2016, we wanted to meet with the core team at our school to begin discussing some of the different elements that we were hoping to accomplish in the coming school year. We sat down with our principal, assistant principal, staff developer, and media specialist, knowing this group would support us through the requirements of meeting the criteria for our internship. At that time, we also knew that we would have a new principal in the coming school year, so we wanted to have a conversation about what to have in place before that switch occurred. We provided a brief overview of our goals and vision and received some great feedback from everyone at the table, as well as a lot of support. We went into the summer feeling good about the work we would be starting in the fall with our staff. Once we were all back together to begin a new school year in the fall of 2016, the first thing we asked for was time at our September staff meeting to introduce our internship to our colleagues. We put together a Google Slides presentation that included a video to promote tech-forward thinking and a promise to support them with their different tech needs. To figure out what those tech needs would be, we asked everyone to take a few minutes to complete a Google form we had put together. We asked a few specific questions about how they would rate themselves on their own personal tech proficiency and how they would prefer to receive PD sessions. We also asked more open-ended questions, giving them the option to really tell us what their tech-based wants and needs were. The data we collected gave us a real starting point for our PD sessions. Lastly, we helped everyone join our Tech Google Classroom. We wanted to have an online space to store all of the resources we would be sharing in the coming year. So we took a few minutes to walk everyone through the steps of joining the classroom we had created.
Reviewing our staff survey results, it was clear that there were significant technology needs within our school. Since there was a wide range of needs, we decided to focus on working with staff in small groups to help us target and differentiate instruction to reach as many staff members as possible throughout the year. As we sat down to create our initial schedule of trainings for our staff, we looked at the survey results that indicated their needs and interests. Once we created the schedule, we had staff complete a Google form to sign up for the trainings that they would like to attend. As trainings were approaching, we would send out email reminders to the staff that signed up, as well as broadcast the upcoming trainings to the rest of the staff in case someone missed the sign up. As we were reflecting on our internship after each training and the tech plan for our school started to change, we altered our internship plan to best support the teachers at our school and updated the training schedule for our staff. Although we held several trainings all year, here are just a few we have chosen to highlight. Active Inspire was the first trainings that we held for our staff in November, as it was one of the highest ranked topics of interest from the survey. We first held a basic training where we instructed about the use of the toolbar in Active Inspire to create a basic flip chart that includes text of different fonts, sizes, and colors, adding and resizing of shapes, and adding a colored background. Based on the survey results, we were expecting a significant number of people to attend this training, but in reality, we only had 3 staff members show up for the training. Although it was a small turnout, the attendees were very pleased with their training and were able to take these newfound skills back to their classroom. We also held an intermediate training where we instructed about the use of the toolbar in Active Inspire to create a flip chart that includes adding a gradient or picture background, adding pictures, using the revealer tool, and using the spotlight tool. A larger number of people attended the intermediate training and were able to take these tools back to create more engaging flip chart lessons for their students. As the year progressed, one particular staff member from the basic training continued to come back for additional support in creating more complex flip charts as she became more confident with using Active Inspire. Her success and growth is one reason why we chose to highlight this training. It was great to see her confidence increase throughout the year.
This past spring, our school chose to participate in a pilot for an online platform the county will be asking all schools to start using in the 2017-2018 school year called Performance Matters. This platform will essentially house a plethora of student data for teachers to be able to access. The reason why we chose to highlight this training is that it was not on our original plan back in the fall. Decisions were made on which schools would pilot Performance Matters once the school year had already begun, and when our principal knew for sure that we had been chosen, she came to us and asked us to be part of a 2-day training session. We wanted to be both flexible and helpful, so we decided to make modifications to our original timeline. We changed our April PD to accommodate, and Stacy worked with our K-2 teachers, special ed, and resource staff on day 1, and I supported the 3 to 5 teachers plus specialists on day 2. The training mainly focused on one specific element within Performance Matters called the baseball card. On our respective days, Stacy and I were there to present baseball card to the staff and then float around the room to support anyone who was struggling with the tech component since everything was online. Co-facilitating these trainings was a nice opportunity to step in when needed, but also to step back when our staff developer was running different parts of the session. Being able to observe our staff developer during these trainings was a great learning experience for us because we got a first-hand look at how she adapted and modified her plans based on which teams were being seen at that time. Even though we had a planned timeline to follow for our internship, we had some opportunities for more on-the-fly teaching and learning. This may have happened during weekly team planning meetings when we wanted to share a specific tech tool that could support the content for that week, or that students would enjoy using. As an example, at a 5th grade meeting this past spring, I showed my teammates how to use PictoChart, and we decided students could publish their writing for that week using an infographic. This would also happen one-on-one and as needed. One example was that Stacy had a new teammate added at the last minute. She was coming back to teaching after many years out of the classroom and prior to the addition of Promethean boards. Stacy conducted many individual training sessions with her at the beginning of the year to help her learn how to use Active Inspire, Google Drive, and Outlook. These trainings continued on and off throughout the year as it was needed to repeat the process multiple times before it would stick.
On May 15th, we had the staff members who attended our trainings throughout the year take our final evaluation survey to see how their comfortability with technology changed over the course of the year. The data shows two questions that we asked our staff at the beginning and end of the year. The first question relates to how comfortable they feel using technology, and the trend shows less people at a 1 or a 2 and more people at a 3 or higher. For the second question, we asked staff members to rate themselves as a rookie, semi-pro, or pro based on their tech use and knowledge. Most of the participants at our PDs had originally marked themselves as rookies or semi-pros, and the pie charts show a clear decrease in rookies and increase in semi-pros. After analyzing the data and comparing the beginning of the year to the end of the year, we were astonished with the growth of our staff and the impact that our trainings had.
Here are 5 key concepts we were able to demonstrate through our internship. As tech leaders, it goes without saying that we enjoy using tech in a variety of ways. One way we used it often over the course of our internship was to gather data from our staff. Whenever we did a PD session, we would mainly use Google Forms or consensograms to quickly collect feedback that would then inform future sessions. Google Forms are a favorite because there are many different question types, from multiple choice to linear scale to open-ended. This allowed us to customize our surveys to be as targeted as possible. The other nice feature is that all of the collected data is put neatly into different graph representations for us to then analyze. We wanted to take the time to really look at what the data was telling us so that we could make changes and improvements.
We have both been members of Highland View for a number of years, and there have been very few staff turnovers. This makes us very knowledgeable about our staff needs as we prepared for our internship. We spoke with our administration, and we were able to narrow our focus to formative assessment as it relates to our SIP goals, as well as Google Drive as it relates to our planning process. We finally collected survey data in September from the staff to help us identify their needs and interests related to technology. We used all of these factors to help us create an initial timeline of our internship. As the year progressed, we altered our timeline to flow with the changes within our building.
Anytime we had a PD session planned, we wanted to make sure we had all of our materials ready, including putting an agenda out prior to the session, having a presentation put together, and organizing resources or handouts. Our agendas followed a format used by our staff developer for consistency and always included the name, date, location, outcomes, and schedule for each session. Our presentations were streamlined so that we were not overloading our staff with too much information at one time. We tried to keep the number of slides to a minimum while maximizing the amount of time for practice. We felt this approach allowed for staff to feel more comfortable and supported. As always, we were constantly surveying our staff to hear their thoughts about how things were going, usually via a Google form. The efforts we made to be organized, streamlined, and prepared translated to almost all of our sessions going smoothly, running on time, and receiving positive feedback.
After each training session that we completed, we took time to complete reflections to help improve our internship and identify the next steps with the staff. Staff that did attend our trainings were very grateful for our sessions and our ability to take charge as tech leaders in our building. After the first few sessions and very few staff turning out for our trainings, we worked with our principal and staff development teacher to help get some strategies and tips to encourage more staff to participate in our trainings. We were able to raffle off prizes such as principal parking spot for the day and 20-minute early dismissal pass to those who attended our trainings. As we reflected on our internship and the tech plan for our school started to change, we altered our internship plan to best support the teachers at our school. The main change that we made was to co-facilitate a mandatory training on performance matters with our staff development teacher, as this was a requirement from the county.
Based on the initial survey given to our staff, 11 people said they preferred PD they could complete on their own time. We knew that making screencasts would be a great way for us to meet that request while also getting to practice our digital video skills. Even when we held face-to-face PDs on a variety of topics such as Kahoot, Google Forms, Padlet, and ActiveInspire, we were sure to include a screencast for staff to refer back to as often as they needed. Staff members always had really positive feedback whenever we put out a screencast without a face-to-face, and that was great for us to hear because we could never really be sure who was watching unless they came back and told us so afterwards. We even went so far as to subscribe to Screencast-O-Matic so that we could make as many videos as we wanted without worrying about limits on how long they could be or how many we could make each month.
Now here are the major takeaways from our internship. Overall, the growth we experienced this year as tech leaders in our school was tremendous. We had challenges coupled with some very rewarding experiences as well. We received monumental support from our colleagues. It always felt great to hear that they enjoyed learning about a new tech tool or listening to us present new information. At times, it was difficult to engage staff members in coming to our optional PD sessions, but even with only 2 or 3 people present, we were able to share good information and support them with their learning and understanding. We also saw the needs of our staff shifting throughout the year, and we were able to make adjustments and be flexible to accommodate new additions such as Performance Matters. To be able to visually see the growth that occurred in our building this year is pretty incredible. To be able to facilitate an almost tangible change has been a learning experience for the both of us.
Looking back, there were also a few things from the year that were challenging or unanticipated. The tech Google Classroom that we created and had everyone join at our September staff meeting ended up going mostly unused all year. Between email inboxes, our school's private and T-shared folders, and Google Drive, our staff was feeling pretty overwhelmed with having to go to yet another place to get information. We made accommodations by saving resources instead to our staff Google Drive folder under All Things Tech. While most of our trainings did go on as planned, we did end up canceling the one on how to register and use active expressions around the time of winter break. Only 2 staff members had signed up for it, and one ended up being out sick for several days. So I just did a working lunch with the other participant and posted the directions to our tech folder in Google Drive for anyone who wanted them. An unanticipated event that was out of our control this past year was our media specialist ended up going out on extended leave. She is one of the most tech-savvy members in the entire building, and we had planned to use her expertise over the course of our internship. We know we will certainly go to her for any and all future tech-related work we do in the coming school year. Lastly, having a new principal did take a small toll on our staff climate this year. Our last principal had been with us for 9 years, so it was a big and sometimes difficult adjustment for a lot of people, the 2 of us included. And going to optional tech trainings was not a top priority for most people.
In the next school year, we hope to continue to provide support with the tech tools that we introduced this past year, such as ActiveInspire, Google Drive, Kahoot, Padlet, and Performance Matters. We also hope to expand upon what we have started by doing additional trainings on new tech tools through face-to-face meetings and screencasts. Although another resource we look forward to adding is a tech newsletter that will be posted to our school's Outlook private folder monthly. This newsletter will be a way to stay connected with the staff about tech-related news and issues so they can continue their learning and we can spotlight new tech tools for them to try out. We look forward to seeing how we can continue this trajectory in the future.